Hey, it's Melanie Benson's Trick here, host of New Era Success TV, and it is Casual Monday. Here in the Success Connections offices, we have Mondays that are casual. And actually, I'm just back from yoga, and I was thinking about something in yoga that really, people ask me all the time, Melanie, what is it that you do to be able to pull off leaping the way you do and having such a huge amount of things that get done? What is your formula? And so I thought I would share today a little bit about what my own personal formula is, what I call the personal power formula that I use to be able to really run a business that is consistently generating 6 figures and sometimes 7 figures, but more importantly, that allows me to have the energy to and the bandwidth to do what I want to do in my business. So first of all, I think it's important to establish that running a business does require the owner to have a certain level of energy and focus. You know, you're going to be faced with decisions all day long. You're going to be dealing with all different kinds of people. You're going to be navigating through all kinds of, energetic needs. And if your energy is not up to par, you're not going to be able to pull it off at the level you could. And I'm really aware of this because a lot of the people that come to me for coaching, they are so exhausted and overwhelmed and frustrated with their business. They don't really have any time to, let alone enjoy their life, really get the good things out of their business anymore. And there's a love-hate relationship with running their business. So how do you upgrade that? I look at it like everything you put in is going to influence the software program you run called How Do I Create Success? And over the last few years, this has become even more and more important for me. I don't know if you know this about me yet, but when I left corporate America, I was dealing with a form of chronic fatigue. As a matter of fact, the University of Phoenix Alumni Magazine did a whole spotlight on it not too long ago because they were profiling different entrepreneurs, and the fact that I had dealt with such a energetically depleting life experience and could rebound and create a 7-figure business was really fascinating to a lot of their readers, especially ones that were just getting started and were dealing with their own kind of energy issues. So for me, having energy is essential. So here's some of the things that I look at. I have to be able to run my team. I have to be able to stay up with and stay connected to a lot of the things that are going on with my peers, and be able to have the energy to oftentimes have very difficult conversations. I'm going to be mentoring and coaching people all day long, so I have to be able to have a certain level of energy to give back to them and to infuse energy to them. I do a lot of what I call like inner grounding and healing work, especially when an entrepreneur is really depleted and exhausted and they need life force to be able to kick back into gear. So all of that requires me to have to be really grounded, focused, clear energy, not dragging around a lot of crap. Now, we're not even talking about what happens when really major negative stuff comes up, like the things you don't plan on in your launch, or a technology failure, or someone writing bad things about you on the internet, or you find out somebody that you thought was a friend is, talking about you, whatever. You get nasty emails. It's amazing what you deal with when you are in business. So I look at your personal power as your fuel source. What you will be able to use to pull off the greatest level of success possible. And there's a lot of different elements to personal power. I cover them all in my Beyond Optimum Performance series. But for today, one of the things that I think is really important is to know that your mind, your brain power, is probably the single greatest thing that's affected by everything else. And what I have learned, because just like many people, I can be emotional, I can go down the spiral, I can have a negative day that just takes me out of the game. And there's a lot of things that we can have impact us, and we can react to them and get off center and go completely haywire. The media alone can send us into a tizzy and all kinds of fear and worry and apprehension and concerns that we don't have to go there. So the first place that I'm often working with people around is their mindset and becoming masterful at managing what's happening inside our brain. I would say a good 70% of the people that I've had the hugest breakthroughs with in their business success is because they learned how to have a mental program that supports them being able to pull off the highest level of financial or accomplishment success. And here's what I mean by that. Oftentimes something negative happens. You get a bad email, somebody drops your program, somebody's asking for a refund, a technology glitch happens that you weren't prepared for, something blows up, a team member quits. I mean, it all happens, right? And if your personal power is not grounded, focused, and super strong, your stamina in place, you will react, you will go sideways, you'll, dig yourself into a hole, you'll have a completely corrupted day. And now you're not going to be very good at accomplishing anything. When I look at the first part of personal power and being able to control what's going on inside of our head, there's three most important pieces of it. First of all, is beginning to recognize the signs that you're going sideways, that you're having a reaction, and being able to take responsibility for your own experience. See, most of us, especially as younger people, and before we're exposed to this kind of knowledge, we think that everyone else is the problem and we've got to control everyone else and we've got to fix everything else and we've got to make sure everything around us is working perfectly so that we don't have a bad day. It's actually the exact opposite. When we get control of ourselves and we learn how to manage this amazingly complex mental capacity that we have, then everything around us starts to shift and generates the results we want. That old saying, the thoughts you think, the focus you have creates the outcome, is so true. And it took me many years of knowing it before I could learn it and really master it. And a lot of it was surrendering to that being true. It didn't matter how hard I tried to control everything else. If I didn't control myself first, nothing else was really going to matter. Now, the second piece, and I'm going to spend a little bit more time breaking this down, is I actually believe that the more I nurture my mental capacity and I infuse the things that are seeds of greatness and inspiration, the easier it is for me to do the first part. Recognize it and control it. And then the third piece is to give myself an outlet when stress does come up that's healthy. There's a lot of unhealthy ways that many of us have adapted to stress. We try to power through it. We get into fights with people to release that tension. We blow up. We maybe drink too much or use other kinds of alternative stress-reducing drugs and situations that are unhealthy. Addictions kick in when we're dealing with overcoming a consistent amount of stress. So I want to talk a little bit today about the nurturing and the stress outlet, because there are some things that I've done that when I'm consistent with them, I found they have a hugely positive impact on my ability to sustain the level of success and to really be able to have a non-reactive way of being. Allows me to make much better decisions, gives me the stamina I need to deal with whatever's coming up. And if I neglect these things, trust me, I'm in the ditch and I'm out for the count. When I nurture these parts of my repertoire, I am so much powerful, I am so much more clear and focused and energized. So the first one is, as we were already talking about, is your mindset. And mindset means that you are injecting really powerful messages. So you might read. I voraciously read what I consider to be very positive, influential information into my brain. So I'm constantly reading things like The Vortex by Abraham Hicks. I read other high consciousness material like Eckhart Tolle. So I'm infusing that kind of out of the box thinking and reminding me that my thoughts are in control of my reality, because I have to remember that. I have to have it in front of my face every day or I'll slide. The other thing that I do in terms of nurturing my mindset is I'm constantly reading about other people who've overcome success, like my friend's book, It's Okay to Be Scared But Never Give Up. Reading about people who have used different techniques for success, because I'm constantly wanting to infuse and expand my bandwidth of what I think is possible. And then the third thing I do is every day I meditate, and I start my day often, especially if I'm crashing and I'm having a bad day, or I'm getting reactive, or something's bugging me. I really up it, and I will put more in, and so that's when I'll do a hypnosis CD. I love some of the hypnosis CDs that Kelly Howell has. I love some of the CDs that there's a really interesting NLP technique, a hypnosis technique that Paul McKenna does. So you can Google any of those and find them. I also have some hypnosis CDs that I use for my own clients. The Rapid Optimum Power Booster session, which is a real confidence booster and power enhancer. I do it for myself, and I make them for my clients. And also, just anything you can do to relieve anxiety. I have a very powerful CD in the Ultimate Success Generator where it's called the Anxiety and Procrastination Buster. And it literally eliminates anxiety and procrastination through this hypnotic visualization technique. It's very, very powerful. But all of those are tools that you can have in your own little toolbox. So when you're starting to notice I'm reacting, it's almost like when you notice you're getting sick, you might start taking cold medicine, or you might start eating better, or taking vitamin C, or whatever you do. Go to the doctor and get a little vitamin B boost. You need to do the same thing. You need to come to the doctor and get your boost so that your brain gets back on track. That's a big part of why my clients stay engaged with me, because I'm going to put them back on track. I'm going to get them out of their negative derailer, and we're going to get them to start thinking properly again about your brain. So those are some tools you can use on your own. Now, the second thing I do in my 4-step formula is nutrition. And I know we all hear about it, but do we really do it? I don't always. I mean, I just had somebody send me this decadent box of truffles. Oh, I was just like, oh, I'll have another truffle today. These are so good. Well, my energy was on the floor. When I eat really well and I eat really clean and I focus on organic vegetables and I eat high quality proteins, because I'm really big on organic, hormone free. I find that I don't want chemicals in my body. When I'm not having wine, because that's one of my favorite things, but if I have it a lot, it'll really affect my energy. So nutrition and really fueling your body properly has a lot to do with how your mind performs. Especially if you're a caffeine addict and you're pumping caffeine and sugar in your body all day, eventually your adrenals start to burn out, and all you're doing is fueling this horribly toxic cycle where you're pumping stuff back into your body over and over and over again that's not very good for you in order to keep your stamina up. So a much cleaner, much more powerful, much more sustainable way is to have high quality food every 2 to 3 hours, even if they're smaller meals. Any dietitian or great nutritional plan will tell you that the higher quality food you're eating, the higher quality energy you will have. Tony Robbins is the master at that one. If you watch him, if you've ever seen him live, or like even if you caught the Oprah special where she interviewed Tony Robbins, he talks about the quality of his energy has everything to do with the quality of the input. So check yourself. If you're very reactionary, you're exhausted all the time, your energy's not up to par, how are you fueling your body? Are you skipping meals? Are you eating regularly? Are you eating crap? Are you eating a lot of processed foods? All of that has a huge impact. So let's get to number 3, exercise. And I told you at the beginning of today's show that I'm just back from yoga, and I was inspired to share this with you because I've done all different kinds of exercise, except for I'm not really big on running. Because that just doesn't work for my body. But I have trained, I have had weightlifting, I've had all kinds of different cardio and hiking and rowing. But what I have found over time is that a combination of the proper cardio and yoga is a huge benefit for me. See, cardio and weightlifting and all that, that's really good for weight management, but there's something about yoga that has a huge impact on the connection between my body and my mind. And again, if I'm stressed and if I'm spiraling, yes, the workout will help me deal with the stress, but yoga is hugely powerful in my ability to train my body and my brain for a more powerful alignment. When I am very present in yoga, it's like yoga is my greatest teacher about how stressed I really am. Because if I'm spiraling and my brain's going like this in yoga, I'm like, okay, it's time to let it go and to get unattached. I also find that yoga is a great experience for me to continually to check in about where I'm giving up on myself, where I'm not energizing myself properly. So yoga has been a great asset to me in this quest to strengthen my focus, to stay more connected to my truth, and to be a great teaching tool and a staminizer for me to really keep infusing back that personal power that I need to be able to pull off these big leaps and with all that confidence that I need when it's time to jump. So exercise is critical, and if you're not exercising at least 3 or 4 times a week, I guarantee you you're cutting off a really important life force. I don't care if you go for a 10 to 15 minute walk, anything is better than nothing. But ideally, you're getting, at least 4 or 5 days a week with some kind of really powerful cardiovascular and mind tuning exercise. Now, the last one I want to talk about is a little bit different. And I have noticed that my personal power changes dramatically based on the people that I'm spending time with. And this is a little bit different than some of the other things we've been talking about, but it's in my 4 factors, because when this is off in my life, it has a huge impact in my ability to think clearly, to be focused, and to have the confidence in myself. And if I'm around a lot of negative people, this part of me will go sideways very quickly. I'll get more negative. I'll get grumpier. I won't find that I'm as fun to be around. And I'll start to pick up on a lot of the negative energy of those people, and it'll affect me. So these people can be your clients, they can be your team, they can be your sphere of influence, it can be the people you spend the most time with, your family, the friends that you hang out with when you're not doing business. So, we all have certain situations that we're plugged into that probably aren't going to change anytime fast. I'm talking about our family and the people we live with, or the people we spend the most time with, especially if we have a job. So how do we spark new energy, new possibility, and really up-level our personal power if we're in a situation where we have a lot of negative influences? Well, here's just one of the many different remedies that I focus on, and I always make sure that I'm in a very powerful, uplifting, energizing, inspiring, challenging mastermind. And oftentimes they're facilitated by other people, sometimes they're privately run. But however I do them, I make sure that I'm in a mastermind at all times. That mastermind has a really huge impact on me. First of all, you want one that meets regularly. So if it's once a week or twice a month or whatever, you want to know that it's meeting regularly, and you want to be there 100%. Showing up regularly and consistently is a big part of how you get that energy back. The other part is to participate, be active, be engaged. The people that are in a mastermind with you are there to support you and have your back. They're there to learn from and grow with. And oftentimes they're there to give you that little push or to give you that boost of confidence when you need it the most. So thinking you're going to do this all on your own is a real failure point for most of us when we're so caught up in our day-to-day drama and we're like, I can't make time for anything else. If you're not making time for a proper mastermind, and I don't mean just any mastermind, but a really powerful mastermind that's challenging you to grow, is inspiring, enthusiastic new possibilities, and is infusing life force into you, then you're not in the right mastermind. You need to find one that's a little bit more aligned with your truth and what's going to set you free and focus you on liberating yourself. I'm not a big proponent of just pushing, get more done, accomplish more, grow faster. I think a mastermind that's really well-rounded and is going to do what you want to do and add pure personal power is one that causes you to think differently but supports you in getting there. I'd love to hear if there's a personal power technique that you use that I haven't covered here. Share them in the comments below. Or if there's one of these personal power factors that you're going to implement in your business and in your life, share it below. This is a great opportunity to get into the conversation about what you're willing to do to up your energy, get your personal power on track so that you can pull off the impact and the achievement that I know you want to share. I'm Melanie Benson Strick, host of New Era Success TV. We'll see you next week.